Kenneth Golden, author, researcher, and Discovering Reciprocity newsletter publisher, has a major revelation for you. As we approach the end of the Age of Grace, a long-time suppression system whose ultimate goal is to accumulate wealth in various forms, instead of following the mandate of our Creator that was intended for those in a leadership position. These forms emerge in different patterns, which Kenneth had named the religious-industrial complex. This system is reflected as a modern counterpart to the military-industrial complex, which was revealed in 1961. In his groundbreaking Forbidden Knowledge series, Kenneth draws a bold and thought-provoking parallel between two powerful institutional forces. He has illuminated background thoughts for the global general population to consider. Ephesians 6:12 states, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." The main suppression tactic that these two entities employ revolve around money, to the point that mass populations follow their lead and bring themselves to employ unethical methods to generate money in this day and age, rather than storing up credits for the soon-approaching kingdom age. There are certain factions of the religious-industrial complex and the military-industrial complex who will do virtually anything under the sun to generate unnatural profits to excel in their prospective categories. President Dwight D. Eisenhower, in his farewell address on January 17, 1961, warned the American people of the rising and unchecked influence of the military-industrial complex. This consisted of a vast network of defense contractors, political interests, and military operations whose driving motive had shifted dangerously toward profit rather than protection. "We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence," Eisenhower declared. The goal was no longer morality or security, it was money. Kenneth contends that a similar dynamic exists in many corners of organized religion today, what he calls the religious-industrial complex on steroids. This system, like its military counterpart, has developed layers of power, control, and profit-making mechanisms that often overshadow spiritual integrity. The common denominator, Kenneth writes, is the presence of negative, unscrupulous human elements whose primary motive is financial gain, even if it means corrupting the core purpose of the institution. Kenneth also reminds us of the actions of Jesus when he entered the temple courts and drove out all who were buying and selling there. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves. He said to them, "My house will be called a house of prayer, but you are making it a den of robbers." Matthew 21:12-13. The message is timeless, regardless of it originating in temples or political halls. When profit replaces principle, sacred institutions, and morality, societies become corrupted and move toward the dark side. This revelation is not an indictment against faith or defense, because both are needed, but a cautionary tale of the dangerous fusion of power and profit without accountability. Kenneth invites readers to explore these challenging truths, question the status quo, and reawaken a collective moral compass in this age of deception. Now let's view things from a slightly different perspective. The religious-industrial complex is the hidden cousin of the military-industrial complex. On January 17, 1961, President Dwight D. Eisenhower warned the American people of a dangerous force growing behind the scenes. There is a shadow alliance between defense contractors, lobbyists, and government officials in which President Dwight D. Eisenhower coined the phrase military-industrial complex. We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence from those with hidden agendas, because the potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. As stated by President Eisenhower, Kenneth Golden draws a disturbing parallel. He argues that the religious-industrial complex operates in a strikingly similar fashion, powered by wealth, influence, and unchecked authority. The common denominator, Kenneth writes, is the presence of negative, unscrupulous human elements whose primary motive is financial gain, even if it means corrupting what is sacred. Both complexes, military and religious, have institutionalized profit over principle, When morality is no longer the goal, both systems become tools of exploitation. Kenneth doesn't aim to condemn faith or national defense, but to expose how both have been hijacked by forces with profit-driven motives. In this era of information warfare, it's no longer just about what we believe, it's about what's being done in the name of belief. Even though these organizations go by many different names, their ultimate goal is to accumulate as much money as possible from those who follow them and are mesmerized by their persuasion tactics. In the early days, the religious industrial complex was composed of degenerate, unprincipled Pharisees, Sadducees, Essenes, and is currently composed of unnumbered religious groups of all persuasions. In essence, it is composed of those who have turned the truth about God into what they want God's message to be for their own profit, and may have unwittingly removed their names from the book of life. Some of the strongest warnings in the Bible are directed to corrupt religious leaders who mislead God's people who are looking for truth and truthful leadership. Many of these corrupt classes of leaders include false prophets, false priests, false pastors, and false teachers who, by their example or their actual doctrine, lead the unsuspecting truth seekers into sinful conduct and destructive beliefs. Join the Forbidden Knowledge series and reclaim your awareness. Subscribe to the Discovering Reciprocity newsletter, where truth is no longer optional.